peace and blessings, respect and honor, beautiful souls. I am Brandi L Bates, and you are now listening to Power Podcasts. You can find me on Twitter at Soledad Francis and on Instagram at Brandi is winning. By the way, my name is spelled with an I, not a Y. And you can also find most of these podcasts on iTunes, and you can subscribe to the iTunes channel so it can come to your devices. And we're on SoundCloud and archived on YouTube. So today we're talking about knowing what to ignore. Knowing what to ignore. I don't know about you, but life is short. And each day it seems like more and more stuff is competing for our time, for our attention, and for our money. You must have wisdom and authority over your conscious waking thoughts and attention in order to be effective, and in order to just not even go crazy. Just, living alone, just life by itself is difficult enough, right? Just trying to survive, keep a roof over your head, food on the table, stay sane in an insane world, to stay buckled down and sober-minded in a crazy, intense world in intense times, right? So when you arise in the morning, think of what a beautiful world this is. And when I say a beautiful world, I'm talking about nature, the trees, the skies, the sun, the moon, the stars, the mountains, people, certain places. It's a precious privilege to be alive. It really is. And when you think about how many people have been, taken out of here, people who've had to get in the box, at an early age, people who've died young, or even people who are in prison, people who are on their deathbed, about to die, they would trade places with you in a second. It's a precious privilege to breathe, to have breath in your lungs, to have a beat in your heart, to have the ability to think, to enjoy, to love, to enjoy, delicious food. That's why, if you'll notice with me, I don't even talk about, you need to be raw vegan, and this is what we need to be eating, and this is what what? With age and wisdom, I've learned to live and let live, and let people, if people want to eat hippopotamus ass, let people eat hippopotamus ass. Give people the freedom to make their mistakes. Give people the space and the opportunity to fall on their ass. Give people the full right to be stupid. Give them that right. They have that right the same way you have that right. The same way you had to come into a knowledge and wisdom and understanding of certain topics and subjects, and learning how to live, being educated, learning your skill sets, learning your what you do every day. You had to learn that shit, right? So it's like you have to give people the space and the time and the patience to get to their level. You only have a limited time to get educated or educate yourself, to love, to live, to travel, to experiment with whatever you fancy before it's time to get in the box. It makes absolutely zero sense to waste your time on shit that doesn't matter. It makes zero sense. The key is to surround yourself with people whose presence calls forth your best. And sometimes the people who call forth your best can be considered or classified an enemy or an adversary or an opponent. because they're always pushing you to your next level. They're always encouraging you to tighten up, right? Hope for the best in whatever situation you find yourself in, wherever you may be on the planet. Hope for the best. But expect that what is out of your control is totally out of your control. And leave what's out of your control to chance, to other people, the universe, God, Allah, whatever you call it. Infinite intelligence. Leave it to God. Leave it to chance. What don't we have control over? We don't have control over the weather. We don't have control over who's in office. We don't have control over the Republicans or the Democrats or who's in parliament. We don't have control who our elected officials are. Collectively, no, we don't. We don't have control over what people say about us behind our backs. And when you really think about it, put it like this. If somebody wrote a nasty ass email to you, right? But you never received that email went to a spam folder. Does it even exist? Does it matter? Does it touch you? You're not going to get angry because you never read it. You never saw it. So really, the only things that can affect you and anger you and piss you off are things that you give attention and focus to. Things that you delegate and give the moniker. You have to define it as some shit that bothers you. Because if you really think about it, very little stuff actually affects your health, your mindset, your livelihood. Half of the shit is you're getting worked up over some shit. You're getting emotional and in your feelings about something you saw on TV, something you read on Twitter, something that came across on the radio that you were listening to, something that somebody said or didn't affect you, didn't affect your person, did not affect your body, did not affect your children or your parents or your house or the bed you sleep in. Just some shit somebody said or did 100+ miles away from you, and you reacted and got in your feelings and you're in your bag over some shit somebody said. Somebody who has absolutely no control over the food you put in your mouth, the roof over your head, your health, your livelihood, nothing. And you've given them all this goddamn weight. You've given them all this goddamn power. When you think about it, what bothers us, stresses us, troubles us, isn't how things are, but our opinion of things. Our opinion of current events, our opinion of what happened in 9/11 with the towers falling, our opinion of the Illuminati, our opinion of Donald Trump, our opinion of situations and circumstances and other people. Oh, well, she was talking shit about you. I heard that. That's your opinion. Because no one's words hold any power over you but your own. The only words that have total power and control over your livelihood, your money, your health, your happiness, who you sleeping with, are your words, your thoughts, your actions, your mindset. The shit you value and put weight on and invest in. Look back over the past with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too. Because the future is history, and history repeats itself. In the same way the great Egyptian empire fell, the same way Rome fell and Persia fell, and all the great nations that we see today, they're going to fall. People are born, they live, they eat, sleep, reproduce, and die. And we all have to end up in a box eventually. And so what you do between the time you take your first breath and the time you take your last breath is totally up to you. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. We suffer in our thoughts. We suffer in our opinion of the value we place on some shit that somebody showed us or told us, or, their opinion shaped and molded and affected and colored our opinion, which thus in turn affected our attitude and our feelings. And then we in our bag. Isn't it funny that we all love ourselves more than other people, right? Nobody is going to love you the way you love you. But we care about everybody else's opinion more than our own. And I know at least like 6 of you are saying, you know what? I don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks about me. I don't care about what anyone says about me, but I beg to differ. 90% of men, the cars they drive, we're talking about straight heterosexual men, the cars they drive, the watches they wear, the clothes they wear, how they carry themselves, the money they're trying to earn is based on them trying to attract a certain type of woman. Or a lot of times women, the makeup we wear or the hairstyles we choose or the style we choose is based on some shit somebody else told you this was hot. Many moons ago, I worked for a large clothing company based out of California. At the time, it was called Robinson's May. It's no longer particularly in business, but Robinson's May, and I worked for the buying department. One of my first jobs in corporate America. And I worked for a woman who, she was the buyer of the whole West Coast division of Robinson's May on the West Coast. And so every couple of weeks, every couple of months, she'd go to New York and they'd go to, all the fashion shows and all of the, and they would go buy styles and fabrics and, things that were going to be displayed in the malls all up and down the West Coast of California, as well as, the entire West Coast of the left coast of the country of the United States. And she was choosing these styles. And so this one woman, her opinion was going to determine the shit that they put in the mall, which determined what women were buying. In my particular department at the time, I worked for the Better Petites. It's called Better Petites. It's the higher end clothing, or name, quote unquote, name brand. And even when you think about that shit, the name brand, what damn difference does it make, right? A shirt is a shirt. A sweater is a sweater. Shoes are shoes. Now, I will agree, you pay for quality. Quality, it stands out. Quality does stand out. But at the end of the day, what goddamn difference does it make if your shirt has a tiger on it or a polo player, on a horse? What difference does it make if your work boots have, the Timberland logo or no logo, right? And so we get caught up in all of this shit. Oh, well, he wearing knockoff. They wearing, it's knockoff Louis. It's knockoff Gucci. What damn difference does it goddamn make? What difference does it make? Does it affect the price of tea in China? No. Because I can assure you 9 times out of 10, Gucci don't give a shit about you. Louis Vuitton doesn't give a shit about you. Timberlands doesn't give a shit about you. Nike does not. Phil Knight does not even know you exist. Michael Jordan could not care less about your existence. He doesn't know you exist. And people place so much weight on a logo or a name brand on a shoe or on clothing. And so back to what I was saying. This particular department that I worked in, she got all of her, what she decided to choose to buy for the company based off fashions that were coming out of Paris. and Milan and Italy and Saint-Tropez and Japan and Tokyo and so it's so funny when you look at what people are attracted to and what is attractive to them, whether it's style or clothing or music or art or your type of woman or man, what's attractive to you. How much of that is based on what is actually attractive to you versus what somebody has paid good money and time and energy into influencing you to be attracted to? And so learn not, we don't learn in school. We learn in life. And so as long as you live, keep learning how to live and learn how to focus on what matters. And we don't learn from, as much as, I hate to admit it, I like to learn from other people's mistakes. Because I don't have to hit a brick wall but one time, right? I don't have to hit a brick wall but one time to know, what? It's a brick wall and it hurt, right? But some people, unfortunately, a lot of us, we only learn when we fall on our ass. We learn from pain and we learn from hurt. And so, in other words, a lot of times you won't change your behavior unless and until it hurts. You'll stay at a job that is miserable until the misery overtakes you. You'll stay in a relationship that's really, it's gone lukewarm, it's stale on the edges, but you're going to stay until it's painful. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them. Think of all the beautiful oceans, rivers, creeks, mountains, forests, jungles, sights there are to marvel at in this marvelous, magnificent, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful world. And yet many of us are so caught up on what folks are posting on Facebook who've never even left their state or the country. You're looking at what people posting, they haven't even left the city. And you worried about their opinions and what they're posting and what matters to them. Think about how many times you're checking your notifications, you're checking your email, you're checking your Facebook, you're checking your Twitter feed, you're checking your Instagram, you're checking your snaps, right? Think about how much time you're lending to people and opinions that do not matter. And we're caught up in the opinions and thoughts of leaders and quote unquote celebrities who are here today, gone tomorrow. And the art of knowing what to ignore emerges from knowing what matters, what you shouldn't be ignoring, what to give our attention, our time, our money, our energy, and our passion to. Because I would say upwards towards 75% of what we see on television, radio, mainstream media, whether that's internet, the books we're reading, a lot of times, the people around us, I would say upwards to 75% of it is distraction. Because by distraction, I mean you're not getting any value from it. You're not getting anything from it that is going to empower you, enrich you, better you, improve you, grow you. It's, again, other people's opinions. Why are we so concerned about what Donald Trump says, or what people who hate us say, or people who don't know us think? Why do we care what they think? Why do we care what they are saying? People die every day. We cannot, and you have to understand, And I'm not saying to be cold-hearted and callous and just not give a fuck about anything. But what I am saying is that, if it's, somebody dies, send your love and your light and your condolences, pray for them, send them positive vibrations and love, and you move on with your life, because nothing you can say or do will bring them back. Getting in your feelings and in your bag will never bring anyone back. Anger, frustration, acting out, flying off the handle is never going to put life in dead bones. And so we can't, that's not what changes life and death. Our emotions are not changing when somebody lives or dies, none of that. And yet again, we place so much weight and so much energy into that which we have no control over. For each of us, that thing or things is going to be different. What's important, what you should be giving your attention and your time and your money and your energy and your passion to, is going to be different for you based on if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you are you Caucasian, you African, you Spanish. If you it's going to be different based on what you value, what you don't value, what you want. You have power over your mind, and only your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Prayer will change your mind, and meditation will transform your mind. I'll repeat that. Prayer will change your mind. Meditation will transform your mind. Prayer and meditation will transform your outlook, your demeanor. Think of meditation and prayer as, and really get into this, because a lot of times I've had people say to me like, what should I do to, I want to improve my vibrational frequency, and I want to, yet they don't actually physically sit down, whether it's in lotus position or just sitting in a chair, going out in nature, go hike, put your little towel or your blanket out at the beach, and just close your eyes and go within and actually meditate. Actually fall on your knees and pray to that which is in you, that which is within you, that has given you life and breath and sentience. How few of us that actually do that and wonder why we are powerless. And so think of meditation and prayer as exercise for your spirit. It's like the gym, CrossFit for your soul. Think of your mind as a bowl of water. And the more undisturbed that bowl of water is, the more at peace it is. The clearer you can see things reflecting off its surface. The more tranquil, the more serene, the more whole. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And your happiness and your peace of mind depends solely on that bowl of water being unbothered, left untampered with. True happiness is to enjoy the present without, being anxious, worrying about the future. True happiness is not amusing ourselves with either hopes or fears. Because sometimes being too hopeful, and I know, I'm not, I'm all pro Martin Luther King and all that good shit, and, keep hope alive. But here's the thing. Sometimes if you're too hopeful, too much hope can destroy you. Here's why. Because you have all of these expectations that are based on, again, things that are out of your control. And so when they don't happen, I'm hoping and expecting to win the lottery. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep buying lottery tickets. And every time you go spend your money, you're like, this is it. I'm going to win the lottery. And then you don't win the lottery. And you look back and it's like, wow, I've played the lottery and I've never won. And so your hopes are now dashed. Or, I'm hopeful I'm going to get promoted. I'm working hard. I'm going to get promoted. I'm going to get promoted. And you never get promoted. Or you just don't get promoted. And eventually you just have to go to a whole nother business, a whole nother company, a whole nother line of work. And so your hopes are dashed. Because ultimately you didn't really have control over those factors either way. So rest satisfied with what you have. Focus on what you do have, okay? You may not have a Bentley. You may not have a Benz. You may not have a BMW. But if you have a car, be grateful for that, because everybody doesn't have a car. Somebody is sitting on a bus stop right now, mad as shit. Just got drenched with water. Somebody drove by, the water from the rain in the gutter, and it just splashed them. They cold, they wet, they mad, and you have a hoopty, but it's your hoopty. It's paid off. It's yours. AC work, heat works, radio works. You're good. Be grateful for that hoopty. Be grateful for the person who loves you. Be grateful for the breath in your lungs. Be grateful for the beat in your heart. Be grateful that you can move your feet. Move your feet up and down right now. Simon says, move your feet up. But no, everybody can't move their feet. Everybody doesn't have feet. Be satisfied with what you have, because what you have is sufficient. So some say we should focus on, knowing what to ignore. Okay. So what don't we ignore, right? What should we focus on? So I'm going to tell you. Some say we should focus on, get that money, get that paper, get money, get guap, secure the bag. But wealth is able to buy the pleasures of what you eat, what you drink, your sensual pursuits, what you drive, what you wear, how you live, where you live. Yes. Yet money, wealth can never afford a cheerful spirit or freedom from sorrow, freedom from pain, freedom from anger, freedom from anxiety, freedom from worry. Because there are a lot of people who, they're like, I gotta get that paper, I gotta get that money, right? Get the money, right? They get the money and they still miserable, still depressed. OCD broke and OCD with paper. Crazy broke and crazy with money. Broke, don't got shit, and ugly. Get some money and still ugly, right? There's only so much shit you can buy. You can suck that tummy in. You can get that tummy tucked. And you can get some fake eyes. You can get some fake nails. You can get some fake breasts. You can get some fake hair. All of that. Fix your nose. But if you are not whole within, none of that shit will matter. How many millionaires, successful actors, and successful businessmen and women and athletes and people who have achieved all, go achieve. And yet they're depressed and they kill themselves. Just think about how many beautiful, wonderful artists we've lost to suicide alone. They weren't hurting for money. They weren't hurting for fame. They weren't starved of attention, but yet they were broken inside. They were not whole. So none of that mattered. Some say focus on love. Love will see you through, right? I'm not arguing that it won't. But if you're in a relationship and you and that other soul aren't on one accord, same page, right? Then either you'll break up or get divorced from one another, or continue on in an existence that is absolutely and utterly worse than loneliness. And I know this for a fact. Been there, done that, got a t-shirt, a hat, and a postcard, and a keychain was popping. I believe we should focus on our life's work, honing our skills, sharpening our saw, tightening up on our craft. Anything that gives back to the world and furthers this society or the society that you find yourself in, that's what you need to pour into. Because that's what matters. That's what you never want to ignore, no matter what. The earth, we live on this earth. The earth repays those who cultivate her, both justly and well, multiplying what she received, endowing in abundance all the necessities of life to anybody willing to work. And all this without violating your dignity or self-respect. One thing my mother always said was, I've never seen the righteous forsaken, meaning you keep living right, doing the right thing. You're not harming nobody. You're not hurting anybody knowingly, right? Conscious mind. Sober. A conscious mind is a sober mind, meaning you could sleep at night knowing you didn't cross anybody, you didn't hurt anybody, you didn't wrong anyone. You don't have to worry about, misfortune falling upon you. You really don't. You shouldn't either way, but I'm just saying, and hard work. Hard work cures so much. And if you're not a master of yourself, of your thoughts, your desires, mastering your wants, your cravings, your needs, meaning getting a rein on it, getting control of it, you will never be free. No matter what kind of car you drive, you'll always be looking at the newer model. No matter what house you live in, you're always going to be looking at the bigger houses, the nicer houses. No matter who you're sleeping with, you'll always have a roving, wandering eye to see what you're missing. My brother used to say, show me a fine woman and I'll show you somebody that's tired of dealing with her shit. Right? Some of the most beautiful women, you think, oh, it's beauty, beauty. Some of the most beautiful women, they've been divorced once, twice, 3, 4 times, right? Because again, that beauty can only take you so far, baby. If you're not whole within, you won't be whole without. And I think it's super important to master and control your tongue. Half the shit you get yourself into is because of your words, what you've agreed to, or not even spoke up on. So how important it is to only speak words that are worth decorating the silence. Words that birth power, love, success, inspiration, quality, beauty, abundance, happiness, joy, wholeness. Because it's a lot of noise, right? On social media, on TV, on the radio, on just in general, it's a lot of noise about nothing. A lot of people talking about a whole lot of shit, but it's disempowering. You can watch the news for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end and get absolutely nothing out of it that is going to restore power in you or enrich you, fill you with love, fill you with tolerance, fill you with patience, fill you with wisdom. And so I begin to speak only when I'm certain what I'll say isn't better left unsaid. One thing about me in person is I am very quiet. Very quiet. I'm not shy. I'm just introverted. And I'm always reminded that you don't have to always be bumping your gums and running your mouth. You don't always have to run your mouth. Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought. I repeat, your mind will always take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought. So you thinking about messy shit? Your mindset is focused on messy shit. and messy shit will manifest in your world. And I cannot understand for the life of me how so many of us lose sight of this. Educated people, intelligent people, and yet they totally lose sight of it. Cato the Elder said, wise men profit more from fools than fools from wise men, but the wise men shun the mistakes of fools, and fools do not imitate the successes of the wise. And so a lot of people, you fucked up because you imitating and emulating the wrong people and wondering why you ended up just like them. Parents, kids do not listen to shit you saying. They listen to what you do. Everything you're saying to them, especially teenage boys, because I'm going through that now. So anybody listening, I'm selling a teenage boy. He's for sale. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But teenagers, what you say to them goes in one ear and out the other. Most people, what you say to them goes in one ear and out the other. They're watching what you do because what you do holds weight. What you do matters. To live the good life, a life of quality, is not, paying attention to what does not matter. Accept the things which fate binds you. Love the people with whom fate brings you together with. The people, your co-workers and the people you're going to school with, the people you growing up around, your neighbors, the people in your neighborhood, all of that, believe it or not, is not by accident. It's not by accident. And, this is just my opinion, but I believe before we even incarnate to this plane of existence, we actually choose our parents from another, and this is on some metaphysical shit, but from another dimension, from another time, but our same core soul and self, right, chooses to incarnate into the families that we incarnate into. Either it's restoring a certain type of karma or karmic debt, paying a karmic debt, or just an experience we want to have. So I believe that we have multiple lives and we have multiple experiences, and sometimes we may incarnate as a man, sometimes we may incarnate as a woman. One lifetime we may incarnate as an Irish merchant, and another lifetime we may incarnate as, a kid growing up in Senegal, right? Or Sierra Leone. And I believe that we choose our parents. We choose the families and the different things that we decide to come into before we even enter this plane of existence. And I do not think that it's an accident. Even when you think, just look over your life and look at how intricately things were tied together. Who you went to school with, who you dated, or your neighbors, people you may or may not have gone to church with or temple, or people that you rode the bus with, all of that, and the conversations that were had and what you learned from these different people and how it's a reflection on your life and where you are is not a coincidence. And I think that not only is it not a coincidence, but you can't change it at this stage of the game. So you may as well live it, deal with it, embrace it, and make it work for you. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority. Whatever everyone else is doing, do the opposite. Because the majority is miserable. Majority of people. And this is just being real. I've been told that I'm an antagonist and I can be negative, but I'm making an honest assessment of the world. And most people, when you consider most of the wealth and resources and money and real property, it's owned by a very few small percentage, of the world. I'm not just talking about North America. I'm not just talking about London. I'm not just talking about the Vatican, or I'm talking about the world. Majority of the people are miserable, are broke, are out of shape, or sick, unhappy, and lost. On one hemisphere of the world, people are dying because they're overweight, and the conditions and maladies and disorders that come from being overweight, right? Diabetes, type 2 diabetes, you have strokes, you have heart attacks, cardiac arrest, that type of thing. And then the other hemisphere of the world, people are dying of hunger and starvation and lack. So you have cholera, you have, malaria, you have all of these disorders, and people dying of starvation, and they don't have enough food to eat. They don't have clean running water. They can't afford the proper things to even heal, a bad cough. So that's why it's so easy for brands and marketers to get people to spend money on products and services they really don't need, because most people are so broken up. They're not whole. And whenever you're about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question, right? Whenever you're about to judge somebody, whenever you're about to judge anybody, ask yourself, what fault of mine most resembles the one I'm about to criticize? Because I can promise you, the shit you see in other people is only because it's within you. And when you find yourself flying off the handle, ask yourself if you feel better once you flew off the handle. Once you got road rage and then went off and cussed these folk off in the car, they didn't even hear shit you said. They are in their car with the window rolled up, listening to music, aux cord plugged in. They cut you off, you mad, you cussing them off, cussing them out, flicking them, giving them the bird, and they don't give a shit about nothing you just said. They moving on with life, living life. But how do you feel now? Do you feel better? Once you've flown off the handle, I can promise you, you will not. Once you lose control, that's it. That's the operative word. You lose, period. And the first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. Somebody coming at you wrong, look them in the face and what is this really about? Something bothering you or upsetting you or troubling you. Get to the heart of it. Get to the bottom of it. Get to the core of it. What's really bothering you about this situation? Is it what someone said or what they did or how you feel about it? Undercover inadequacies you feel within yourself. Begin each day by telling yourself, so tomorrow when you wake up, today, I'm going to meet with interference. I'm going to meet with ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, betrayal, ill will, selfishness, you name it. It's going to run the gamut. All of it, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what's good or evil. Meaning most people are totally ignorant, completely stupid. Most people. And that's being liberal. If you keep this, including yourself, including me and you, both, we're ignorant. We're ignorant. Because in the grand scheme of life, we really don't know shit. And that's just the truth. So if you keep this in mind, very few, if anyone, will have the power to offend you. Very few people offend me. Because their opinions don't matter to me. Because I know that their opinions don't do shit for me. Your opinion does not pay any of my bills. And so they don't matter. Good or bad. How you feel about me or think about me has absolutely zero bearing on my livelihood and my happiness and my peace of mind. And be totally present. Learn to be totally present. Totally. Some of us, we wish our entire lives away. And we spend Monday through Friday wishing for the weekend. And then we wish for the winter and the summer. And we wish for the spring and the fall. And we wish we were thinner. We wish we were richer. We wish we were taller. You can't control your height. You know, what you can control, you can control the shape of your body. You can shape your body. You can mold your body. You can have the best physique for your height, for your stature, for your bone structure, your skeleton, and your DNA. Folks with curly hair, they want straight hair. Folks who are single, they want to be in a union. People who are married, they looking like, I wish I was single. I miss that, And so be where you are. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy. And that hangs on tomorrow. Expectation hangs on the future. And so in hanging on to the future, you lose today. And you are arranging what lies in fortune's control, in God's control, in, whatever you call it. Universal mind, universal intelligence, God, the Most High, the Supreme Being, Allah, controls that. You don't control that. And at the same time, you're abandoning all the shit that you can control. And it's so crazy to me how people leave absolutely to chance the shit they can control. You can control your mindset. You can control your thoughts. You can control what you say. You can control how much food you eat or don't eat. You can control whether you get up and go for a run, or whether you decide to eat apples or you decide to eat pork rinds, right? You can decide whether someone pisses you off or not. You can decide who you hang out with, who you don't hang out with. You can decide either you can spend the next 2 hours reading a book that's going to help you tighten up your saw and tighten up your skills, or you could spend the next 2 hours watching trash TV. The choice is yours. And if you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but you need to be a different person, period. And so knowing what to ignore means the sun rises and sets on good folks and bad folks alike. And at the end of our time here on this plane of existence, we'll all return to dust. I don't care who you are. No matter if you're a president, CEO, prince, princess, pauper, janitor, waitress, celebrity, chef, stripper, prostitute, whatever. We all are going to get in the box. Part of that is part of our life. And so today I challenge you to disregard anything, everything, and anyone who doesn't matter. If it doesn't affect your health, disregard it. If it doesn't affect your livelihood, isn't improving your mind or your life, disregard it. If it doesn't help you be happier, healthier, wealthier, more inspired or enriched, disregard it. If they don't empower you, baby, disregard them. Here's why. When you subtract the time you spend sleeping, commuting to work, you in traffic in the morning, you're in traffic on the way home, you eating, sleeping, showering, cooking, going to the grocery store, otherwise preoccupied, you have very, very little time to invest in what matters. When you subtract all the time you don't have any control over, the time that you have is very small. And what actually matters and affects your entire being, you have a small window of opportunity to shape that. And so let that marinate. Your thoughts, your mindset, your words, what you focus on, where you dwell, that's all that matters. Those are the only things you need to focus on, and everything else you need to ignore. Seek not the good in external shit. Seek the good in yourself. Root out everything that somebody else placed there. Your opinion of yourself, how you see the world, how you see men, how you see women, how you see black people, how you see white people, how you see brown people, how you see red people, how you see the political climate, how you see the world. Root out everything that was placed there by someone else and find your own truth. And understand, we cannot choose our external circumstances. Once we're here, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Thanks for listening. It's been real. Have a great, wonderful rest of your day. See you next week.